Welcome back everyone. Well guys, the Lakers are on the clock. They have been playing the waiting game up until this point, but they are quickly running out of time here, or at least if you're talking about making a trade, which I think a wide majority of the fanbase would agree they should make. Right now, they have a completely full 15-man roster, and not only that, but they're currently over the second luxury tax apron, pretty much being in salary cap hell. However, they do have until tomorrow to get out of it. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, newly signed contracts only become official on July 6th, roughly at 12 PM Eastern Time, meaning they have under 24 hours to avoid the second apron rules, which are very limiting when it comes to making a trade. I mean, if you're a second apron team, then you can no longer take back money through a trade, cannot make a sign-in trade, and then worst of all, cannot combine multiple contracts together through a trade, meaning they would have no way to trade for a guy like Jeremy Grant, Cam Johnson, or even Kyle Kuzma for example, all of which have a salary that is more than what either one of D'Angelo Russell or Rui Hachimura will make next season. And with them not being able to take back any money, nor combine any contracts with them, it would become very difficult for them to make a trade like that one, let alone even upgrade their team in general, with the second apron rules affecting what you can and cannot do during free agency as well. And with that being said, they are really on the clock here. It will be virtually impossible for them to make a big move after July 6th if they don't get under that second apron. So we're going to talk about how they can make it happen, how they should maybe look to do it, and then where I think they need to make upgrades in their team. But without further ado, let's dive right into it. And we'll begin by talking about how much money they need to get rid of, which is really not that much. If you take a look at their current payroll, they're only about $1 million over the second apron, meaning they could get under it by simply salary dumping a minimum contract, or even having LeBron taking a little bit less money. However, you don't want to be only slightly below it, you want to be at least 2 to 3 million below it. That way you can give yourself a little bit of leeway, which they could then put towards signing another free agent, either right now or potentially later on during the post-trade deadline buyout market. But again, the point here is that they need to get under that second apron, and according to Woj, they might do it by simply having LeBron take 1 to 2 million less for his upcoming contract, and yes, he can do that until tomorrow. Much like their deadline to get under the second apron, they can renegotiate a contract up until that point as well. And although LeBron won't be taking the big pay cut that we heard about before, he might end up still taking a tiny one, and well, that would be enough to help them out temporarily, though that's not the only thing they need to do. In my opinion, that should only be the bare minimum, as I think they need to make an actual trade. In fact, I think they would benefit from making multiple of them. Simply put, they have a bunch of remaining needs that should be addressed, one of which being their need for more two-way players, another one being their need for a more reliable backup big, and then I think they need to make an upgrade over one or even both of D'Lo or Hachimura. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that either of them are bad players. In fact, I actually really like them and think they could be more valuable on the right team, one with more two-way players hide their lack of defensive ability and where they would not be asked to take on tougher matchups. But right now, there's simply no way around that on this team. With Hachimura being in their starting lineup, he pretty much has to take on the tougher wing matchup, as a 39-year-old LeBron won't be doing that for them, and then neither can D'Lo or Reeves. And sure, you could think about moving Hachimura and or D'Lo to coming off the bench, but then again, why would your third and fourth highest paid players be coming off the bench? If it's from a lack of fit, which you can definitely argue that it is, then I'm not sure why they are meant to be your third and fourth highest paid player. And in my opinion, they really need to find a better fit for their money, without requiring them to make an upgrade from at least one of them, ideally with a true 3-and-D player. Maybe that's somebody like Jeremy Grant or Cam Johnson, who knows, but the point here is that they need to find a better fit. But again, like I referred to before, making that kind of upgrade would be virtually impossible if they don't get under that second apron. And if LeBron doesn't want to take even a minor pay cut, then they legitimately need to make this kind of trade by tomorrow. I mean, if they don't, then you can roll them out trading for anybody that we have been talking about. Say goodbye to Jeremy Grant, Cam Johnson, Kyle Kuzma, Malcolm Brogdon, or even Bruce Brown for that fact. They would all be off the table. Sure, they would still be able to make a trade for a player making less than what D'Lo or Hachimura make, but why would you want to limit yourself like that? Not only would that make upgrading your team significantly more difficult, but you would not even be able to combine multiple contracts together through a trade anymore either. And I for one don't know why you would want that to happen, especially when you are very capable of getting under that second apron. Even if they can't find a trade they like and LeBron is not willing to take a small pay cut, then they could simply salary dump a minimum contract, which I for one would be in favor of. Now, I do think that Cam Reddish became a little more important after Taurean Prince left their team, but I would really think about moving on from one of Christian Wood or Jackson Hayes, neither of which were terrible for them last season, but I think they can and should do a little bit better. Again, would much rather prefer them to make a more meaningful trade here, but even salary dumping one of them could help their team out, both in the short term and potentially the long term if they can find an upgrade for one of them. And by simply getting under that second apron, they would make the likelihood of that happening a whole lot higher, allowing themselves to be able to make a more complex trade and then actually being able to combine multiple players to a trade as well. With that being said though, how might it look if they did not do anything? What if they stood pat and let themselves become a second apron team? Would they be doomed, or could they still find a way to improve their team? Well, I really don't see the benefit of doing it, but I guess they would not be completely doomed here. I mean, you can make an argument for their team last season being pretty damn good when they are healthy, along with when they are managed correctly, both of which were kind of rare. But during the brief time that did happen for them, they were able to win the in-season tournament, go 23-10 during their final 33 games, and then not to mention having a top 3 offense during the final 3 months. Not too shabby. Now, I'm not sure that would be a good enough argument to do nothing here, but I think you can reference that when talking about hitting the panic button. Simply put, they're not a bad team. No, they might not be a championship level team right now, but I really don't think they're that far away. If they would do literally nothing to their team as it currently is, then I still think they would be an okay team. Now, would I agree with them doing that? No, I wouldn't, but I'm not sure why everybody is acting like their team is currently awful. Though again, I think that would be the wrong route for them to take. Why limit yourself when you don't have to? And not only that, but it's pretty obvious what they need to do to improve their team in my opinion. And well, they're quickly running out of time to do it. I think they could and likely will be better for improved health along with hopefully a better head coach. But outright choosing to not address their biggest needs would be malpractice in my opinion. I keep on going back to it, but you simply cannot win in the modern NBA with a bunch of one-way players in your team. And as of right now, well over half their team would fit into that category. I would call D'Lo, Reeves, Hachimura, Vanderbilt, Reddish, Wood, Hayes, Hood-Schifino, and now Bronny one-way players, with each of them being below average in either offense or defense. And again, you simply can't have that in today's NBA. But with all of that being said, what do you guys think? Do you believe they need to make a trade by tomorrow, or do you think they are fine as they currently are? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. That will do it for this video though. Big thank you to those of you who took the time to watch until the end of this video, and until the end of all of my videos in general. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.